So I went to a different part of town, a different part of Birmingham. Me and my daughter went to get our hair cut, and I had an hour to kill while she was in the hairdresser's seat. And the hairdressers was surrounded by charity shops, and I'm sorry, but it would just be rude not to. And the consequence of that is I have another book haul for you. I have totted up what I spent on this huge book haul, and I spent £8. So I haven't broken the bank, but I have got some fantastic, brilliant books, and that's what I wanted to share with you today. So I've got a range of classics, I've got a range of historical fiction, I've got a range of modern fiction and some shortlisted books. I'm really pleased with what I found. So let's start with a series of classics, editions that I've not seen. I've not seen this edition before, so this looked like it was a series of kind of mixed collector's editions, because it says next week collect this one. Great Family Reads, a unique collection of popular contemporary and classical works of fiction. It was given out with either the Evening Mail or the Evening Telegraph, so it was given out through newspapers. I found 4 of these books, and I just thought they were 4 titles that I'm really interested in reading. So I picked up Alice Walker's The Colour Purple. It's another 1001 Books to Read Before You Die book, so I was pleased to see that. I picked up The Adventures of Tom Sawyer as well, by Mark Twain. Of course, a classic that I know the title of. Everybody's heard of it, but I've never read it. Now this one, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Look at that cover, it looks so intriguing. Another one whose title I recognised from the 1001 Books to Read Before You Die. And this is one that I've actually really wanted to read for a while. I've really wanted to read some E.M. Forster, and I managed to find Howard's End in this series as well. So that was a nice little hardback edition of classics that I just thought was really interesting. Another classic, which is a real chunky monkey, is Tom Brown's School Days, and in this edition there's also Tom Brown at Oxford. So this is the work of Thomas Hughes. This is in the edition of an old Wordsworth classic. I like these with the pictures on the spine. Again, lovely soft buttery pages there. So one of those titles again I think we've all heard of, but I just have never read it, so that I picked up too. Sticking with classics, a slightly more modern classic, I found a Virginia Woolf book. This one I gasped when I saw it, because I've been looking for this one. So this is Virginia Woolf, To the Lighthouse. I've never read Virginia Woolf, and I'm trying to find them in charity shops rather than buying them full price. I've only found one so far. This wasn't in this haul, this was one from a few months ago. So I found in an Oxford World's Classic edition Virginia Woolf Between the Acts, but it's the only one I found, even though every charity shop I go into, I make a point to look under W for Virginia Woolf. If the shelves are in alphabetical order, I tend to look for Daphne du Maurier and Virginia Woolf. So to find To the Lighthouse, of all the books, this is the one I most wanted, because I've said before I'd like to make a collection of lighthouse books to be able to read whilst visiting lighthouses, and I'm going to grab a book here because I found another lighthouse book. I found The Lights Between Oceans by M.L. Stedman. I have actually read this. I read this when it was first published and loved it. I've long since got rid of that book and regretted it, because of course this follows the life of 2 lighthouse keepers. So to find 2 lighthouse books a replacement and a Virginia Woolf was just fantastic. Also always looking to add to my Victorian literature collection. Now in March, when I did Moonlit March, if you remember, I had a Wilkie Collins March because I read The Moonstone, because it's got a moon on the front for Moonlit March. So The Moonstone, and I also read The Woman in White. So this I bought online. This book I found secondhand in a charity shop, and these have been the only two Wilkie Collins books that I've ever read. So the two books that I read in March. Since then I've also been looking for Wilkie Collins. I did find two amazing covers, but of the same books, but these covers are so fantastic. I will buy a second book when I can see a cover like this. I love these sort of kitsch old covers. So that had been all of the Wilkie Collins books I'd got until this book haul, and look at this beautiful cover. So this is a Pocket Classics edition of Legacy of Cain, which is a Wilkie Collins that I'd not heard of, but I just think that is the most beautiful cover on that. And I'm really keen to read a good selection of Wilkie Collins, so I grabbed that one as well. So I found one Wilkie Collins. Other titles, a bit like, you know, Tom Brown's School Days, which we've all kind of heard of, is To Kill a Mockingbird, which I have never read. So a while ago I found this version of To Kill a Mockingbird, which was obviously a school edition, which is really heavily annotated, which I love, but I wondered whether the annotation would put me off a little bit because it is so heavily annotated. But I found this lovely edition of To Kill a Mockingbird, and I just thought that might be much easier to read from, so I picked that one up as well. So in one of my last videos I shared a book trip to London where me and Julie from Bookish Travels, we ended up in the Sherlock Holmes Museum. Now I've never read Sherlock Holmes. A few months ago for 30p I found this old edition of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which I grabbed. It's really interesting layout. It's laid out like this, so it's almost laid out how a Bible is laid out, where you read down the columns. It's got all these lovely old illustrations in. I loved it, but I did think, gosh, it's going to really strain my eyes to read that. So on this book haul I also found a different edition of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. What it's got the first few stories in, but it's in a much easier to read layout. This has 12 of the stories of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, where you can see from the contents page in this book there are an awful lot more than 12 stories, so it's just an easier version to read from than this one, so I did grab that one. I also wasn't sure whether this one had different stories in, so for the price of what I paid for, it was worth taking a risk. I still haven't decided which one I'm going to read from, to be honest. Okay, Charles Dickens reading. So I'm still yet to read Dombey and Son, and a few months ago I picked up this Oxford World Classics edition of Dombey and Son, and I flipped through it and was really sad thinking that there were no pictures in it. And for a book that's this massive, I thought, what a shame to miss out on the original ink plates. That's what I really love. So when I saw this version for like 30p, which is probably some of my favourite editions, it's the old Penguin Classics editions with the image on the spine, and I saw that in here you do have all the illustrations. I picked it up. However, sitting down getting ready for this video this morning, I thought I will just double check, and they do have the plates in here, but when you just flick through the book really quickly, you can't see them, and I don't know why you can't see them, but on looking again, the plates were in there, so I felt a bit of a dummy, to be honest. However, I love these editions so much. To be honest, I probably would have picked it up anyway in this edition. So yeah, I mean, look at that cover. It is such a beautiful painting on that cover. So that's the only Charles Dickens I found, but I'm really pleased I found it. Okay, historical fiction. So I have recently found some Sarah Waters in my local charity shop closer to me. I found The Little Stranger, and I found, is it The Night Watch? But the Sarah Waters book I really wanted to find to begin reading Sarah Waters was Fingersmith. So this again was one that I pounced on when I saw it on there. So this has been on my radar, looking for this for about 6 months, and I thought, I don't think I'm ever going to find it, and there it was sitting there for like 30 pence. So I grabbed a Sarah Waters. I feel now I've got Fingersmith, I wanted to start with this one. I feel like I can start reading Sarah Waters now. I also found some Philippa Gregory, which is a name that I've learnt through being on BookTube. People seem to love Philippa Gregory's books. This one is Tidelands. It was the cover that I first spotted and thought, oh wow, it reminded me of Melmoth and the Essex Serpent covers, and I wondered whether it was the same author. So I pulled it out, but it was Tidelands, so I picked up that one. And then Women's Voices in Literature, my DIY literature degree, is giving me a fascination for finding the stories of women in literature. So when I saw Georgiana, Duchess of Devonshire, by Amanda Foreman, and it says on the front it was the winner of the 1998 Whitbread Biography of the Year Award. It's got accolades, which helps me with choosing historical fiction, because it is not a genre that I'm very well versed in, but I just thought, yeah, I would like to read that one, so I got that one too. Okay, this next book is just really interesting. So a few months ago, I think it was probably at the beginning of the year, I found, for I think I paid £5 for this, I found this beautiful version of The Wind in the Willows, this hardback version, which just has the most glorious illustrations throughout it. Now, I've never read The Wind in the Willows, and I think I'm going to put it in for Christmas reading, the week when my kids disappear off to their dads for a week after Christmas. I always hate that week. The Christmas tree is up and the presents are there and the kids are gone, and notoriously I have to plan things that I'm really looking forward to for that week. So it normally involves some sort of special book that I'm looking forward to. So this book I've had a few months now, and it's been put aside probably for that. But I also found in this haul this book, Counselling for Toads, a psychological adventure. It's an engaging account of Toad's experience of counselling. So I think it follows Toad from The Wind in the Willows, but it puts Toad into a counselling session, and I just think that just would be a lovely read along with this book, The Wind in the Willows. I just felt intrigued by that, so that's in the haul as well. Now in front of me I've got finally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I've got 8 more modern fiction. So this is a Penguin modern classic. This is Carol Phillips' Higher Ground. This is a novel that tells of the abandoned and the forgotten, of those who are stripped of the only thing that they have left, their humanity. So the abandoned and the forgotten, I thought this might be a really interesting read for Uncanny August, so things that have been abandoned, things that have been forgotten. It kind of fits into that theme. It is a series of short stories, so I thought that one sounded interesting. I have to admit I bought this one for the cover. The New Me by Halle Butler. This is a woman struggling with her identity within an office, surrounded by older women, wondering where she wants to go next, wondering whether she wants to break free. It feels like it's going to be that sort of dilemma, sort of a coming of age or a development of personality book. So I just thought that looked interesting. Shortlisted for the Man Booker Prize 2003, I picked up Monica Alley's Brick Lane, so I will pick up prize nominated books when I see them. This one sounded brilliant. This one is If Nobody Speaks of Remarkable Things by John McGregor. It's set in a perfectly ordinary town where nothing extraordinary happens, and there is suddenly a terrible event which shatters the quiet of a summer evening, and no one who witnesses it will ever be the same. That's all I know. It sounds great. Maggie O'Farrell on the front says that it was her book of the year, magical, spellbinding and profound. And having just read Hamlet by Maggie O'Farrell, if Maggie O'Farrell gives this the thumbs up, then I'm also interested in reading it too. Another shortlisted prize book for the Bally Gifford Prize for non-fiction. So this is A Fortunate Woman. This is about a woman clearing out her dead mother's house when she finds a book that leads her to a remarkable figure living on her own doorstep, the country doctor, who works in the same remote wooded valley she has lived in for many years. The doctor is a rarity in contemporary medicine. She knows her patients inside out, and their stories are deeply entwined in her own. Now, I loved the look of this book. Not only is it a true life story, but the whole book is interspersed with these absolutely stunning photographs. And when I spotted the photographs, I just thought that just sounds like such an interesting read, such an unusual read as well. And this setup is just looks fantastic. So more of a memoir, this one, but I was really interested to read that. This one, I recognised the title straight away, and I knew it was from one of the prizes. Fugitive Pieces by Anne Michaelis. And then I turned it on the back and it says winner of the Orange Prize in 1997. So I have a prize winner here. Really exciting to find a prize winner in a charity shop. That can go on my pile of oranges behind me. I also found Sally Rooney, Normal People. I've not read Sally Rooney yet, so I was pleased to see that one. And last of all, I found a Cecilia Ahern book, and I'm not sure whether I've read any of her books or not, but this was so cheap. It was 30p. It's a hardback. It's postscript. I really liked the blue on it. In fact, I do like it without the jacket on it. So yeah, I just thought, well, pick it up and you can try her writing and see what you think. So that was it, guys. Quite an extensive haul. Like I say, for me, I'm running out of space, so I'm going to have to limit it down. But it was just so much fun to explore a brand new, equally cheap charity shop, and just to find classics and prize winners and historical fictions and books I've been searching for over 6 months. Some of these books I've been searching for, and to be honest, if I find a classic in these old Penguin editions, especially if it's Charles Dickens, I am going to buy it even though I've already got it in another edition. So I am really pleased with all those books. £8 spent, more books to find space for, but I thought I can't put them away without sharing them with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye.